good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the market caller for today, the 23rd of March, 2025. We're excited to have you all here. This is the Value Flow Trading team bringing to you the market caller for the new week. Here on the market caller, we share our analysis, we share our insights, we share our possible trades for the day and for the week so that you all can take advantage of it and we all make this money together. Once again, you're welcome to the market caller. We hope you're having a wonderful week. And as we're winding up this month and this quarter, we hope that everything plays out in our favor and we end this quarter and this month in profit. Thank you very much for having joined us on this market caller. My name is CJ and I'm going to be taking you the first part of the market caller as we look at gold against the dollar. We're also going to be looking at the yen basket and the yen pairs. These are the things we're going to consider here on the market caller for today, starting off with gold against the dollar. Now, for gold, this morning, we were seeing gold continuing the bleed out that we've been seeing since last week. Since last week, we've been saying that we want to see gold continue selling, and it has been bleeding. In fact, all precious metals, not just gold, silver, and the likes have all been doing the same thing. We've been seeing massive sales on these guys all the way to the downside. Now, typically during rest, we usually see gold and precious metals rally to the upside, but not this time around, mostly because of other things that are in play. Usually, like in January, when we saw the issue between US and Venezuela, gold started rallying all the way to the upside. Now, in this case, we have some other indices that have come into play, and we have to factor that in, which is why gold is selling to the downside. Two of the major indices that we are seeing right now is, first is that during this geopolitical tension, oil is a major player. Secondly, interest rates and inflation are coming into the party. And because of these two things, we are seeing that gold is not behaving as typical as it should behave because there are other things that are affecting it. So at this point, or at this particular period, we're seeing a shift in the usual where gold is selling instead of buying at the period of geopolitical unrest. This is one of the things we have to observe, and this is one of the reasons why we have to be very dynamic in our approach to trading. Now, for gold this morning, I expected the sell at the beginning of the day, and you can see how far it has sold this morning. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see how it is selling, taking out lows and taking out lows. We've seen that the low of January had been taken out earlier. I think that was last week. Then for today, we're just looking at the lows of December, which is somewhere around here. And this morning, while looking at it, it didn't take too long. Price took it out. So that was somewhere here. Price took out the low of December. Now we just have to be looking at the low of November, which is like the next big thing that we're expecting price to take out at this period. So at this point, anything below will just be a target. Anything that we see that is on a lower point will just be a simple target for price to come take out. All right. So first we will be looking at this low here. As the overall low, we're expecting price to come take out soon. At this point, we might be expecting a retracement on the dollar, on gold against the dollar, a little retracement and then a continuous sell. That is one of the things that I'm looking out for on gold. Now, you can expect retracement to somewhere around here. If it strongly retraces, it should retrace to somewhere around here and then continue to sell. So for me, I'm looking out for a sell and a sell alone is what I'm checking on gold this morning. And if I see a good sell, I'll be taking my trade and riding it all the way to the downside. So I just want to see a proper retracement at this time. And once I see it, I'll be taking my sell on gold and I'll be riding it all the way upward. All right, so that is my expectation on gold this morning. Now let's move over to the yen pairs. All right, since the analysis on gold is clear, so let me just put a markup right here to show you my expectation. All right, so we just expect a quick retracement here and then a continuous sell to the downside. That's what we're expecting on gold. So let's go to the yen pairs to see how they are playing out so far. starting off with the yen basket, we could see that the yen basket has been bearish, and we're expecting continuous bearishness. However, since it has broken this level here, we expected a retracement, a proper retracement this time, and then a continuation to the downside. Right now, you can see that microstructure has been forming on the lower time frame. We'll show you that in a bit. And where are we expecting price to get to? We're expecting price to get to around this 50% region here. And afterwards, we'll be looking forward to a sell-off to the downside. So I'm expecting price to get to this region here. There's the fair value gap around there. So expecting a push here and then a sell-off to the downside afterwards. So this is my expectation on the yen, on the yen pair, on the yen basket rather. So let's look out for what is going on GBP JPY and Euro JPY quickly to end the first session of the market for this morning. Now, if you look at GBP JPY, if you look at GBP JPY, you would see that GBP JPY doing quite the opposite of what the yen basket is doing. The yen basket has taken out liquidity here, GBP JPY hasn't. Now, at this point where we're looking to see the yen basket buy a little more, this time we'll see expecting GBP JPY to sell a little more. Seeing that it has struggled to break highs all this period, we're expecting further and further sales to the downside. So for GBP JPY this morning, I just want to see a move that is going to validate our entry, and then we'll be taking a sell-off on GBP. Two places I want to see it sell off from. First is this place here because of this guy here, and then second would be this region around this low here. Okay, so if I see GBP retrace to either of these two levels, I'll be taking a sell. This week, I'm expecting a sell-off on GBP at least from today into Wednesday or Thursday. I'm expecting a sell-off on GBP to the downside. And then for its brother, which is Euro JPY, I'm waiting for Euro JPY to close below here, to break and close below this region here, and then be taking a sell. So right now it has just wicked below it. I'm expecting a break and close below. Then I would be looking forward to a major sell. So I'll see something like this, retracement here, and then a sell off. So this is what I'm expecting. I'll see a break and close below here, and then I'll be taking a Euro JPY sell off all the way to the downside. This is what I expect to see in the market. So let's have a quick analysis also on Euro USD, GBP USD to give us a clear view on what we expect to see on the other pairs. And for that analysis, we're going to be having Cynthia on board to share with us her analysis. Good morning, Cynthia. Can you share with us what you have on GBP and Euro as regards to the dollar?
Good morning, CJ. Thank you for that very insightful analysis. We'll just be heading straight to DXY to see what price has for us this morning. DXY Euro USD and GBP USD. So starting off with DXY on the weekly time frame. Pardon. On the weekly time frame, as seen right here, we've been looking at this point of interest for the past couple of weeks, right? So I want to see price trade into 107 spots, 143, right? So there are various points of interest right here. The first is this fair value gap residing, and the second is this other block. The third is the left shoulder residing at 107 spots. 143. Heading down to the daily time frame, we've seen that the high right here has been taken out at 99.132, indicating that we should be looking out for buy opportunities on DXY. And of course, I can spot point of interest as to where I want to see price retracing into 97.469 before, continuing the bullishness on dollar daily time frame. Coming down to the 4-hour time frame, we're seeing that the most recent price action is bullish. There's nothing to be confused about. All we're looking out for on the XY are buy opportunities, right? So heading straight to this point of interest on 4-hour time frame, right? The shoulder at 97.019 sweep to the downside, break to the upside. We may see price retracing all the way right back into this level long term, right? For us to continue to buy on USD, DXY. what have you. So coming down to the 15 minutes time frame, however, right, I can spot the classic box pattern. If we're looking out for short-term buys, there's the entry right here, 99.150. Why? Because there's the classic box pattern, shoulder right here, sharp sweep to the downside, a break to the upside. I want to see price retracing right back into 99.150. And once that happens, I am going bullish on the 15 minutes time frame for DXY. On Euro USD, starting from the weekly time frame, I'm seeing here, I want to see price retracing right back into 1.06763 shoulder sweep break. Once price returns into 1.06763, I want to buy. Various points of interest, the fair value gap right here, right, coinciding with the left shoulder, and secondly, the other block residing at 1.04390. On the daily time frame, however, we have seen that price has broken structure. Price has broken this low, right? Has even broken the low right here at 1.15051. The first break we saw was the low at 1.15897. The second break is the low at 1.15051. On the 4-hour time frame, let's see what price has for us on the 4-hour time frame. There's nothing to be confused about right here. We're seeing bearishness on Euro USD. And where do I think price is going into? The first point of interest as to where price will trade into, my first take profit is at 1.14500, and second TP is at 1.14234. Right, all we're looking out for should be entry, seeing that, oh, the low at 1.14500 should be swept, and the low at 1.14234 should also be taken out. On the 1-hour time frame, let's see if there be any entry per se on the 1-hour time frame. There is none, right? This actually looks like this has been taken out, but I'm still very bearish on Euro USD. We should see sell opportunities into the week on Euro USD. So on the 15 minutes time frame, let's see if there be any entry. There is none yet, but be rest assured that into the week, we will call out trade opportunities once we spot any. Coming down to GBP USD, the weekly time frame, right? We've been looking at this point of interest for a very long period of time. The shoulder at 78.60, sweep, break, return right back into this level, and I want to keep buying. Coming down to the daily time frame, however, same thing, right? This low has been taken out. The most recent price action seems to be bearish, right? And seeing that price failed to take out the high at 1.38483. Instead, it kept breaking even lower, forming what we know as lower highs and lower lows, indicating that we should be looking out for sell opportunities. And coming down to the 4-hour time frame, 2 points of interest as to where I want to take profit. The first one being 1.32505, and the second point of interest being this low at 1.32220. The second point at which I want to take profit, I beg your pardon. And coming down to the 1-hour time frame, on the 1-hour time frame, let's see if we can spot any entry for the sell of GBP USD. 15 minutes time frame, of course, there's the left shoulder right here. Beg your pardon, this markup doesn't seem to be accurate. So I've spotted an entry on the 15 minutes time frame. Shoulder at 1.34113, sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Once price returns right back into this level, best believe I want to short GBP USD. I want to short, not long, but pardon. I want to short GBP USD. Once price returns right back into the left shoulder at 1.34113. And news releases to look out for so that you apply proper risk management into the course of the week. PMI comes out tomorrow on Euro, right? We see some reactions in the market, or the market may even be stable if it comes out flat. CPI, PMI comes out on Tuesday for euro and pound, right? And even the US dollar. Please trade with caution. CPI comes out for GPP on Wednesday by 8 a.m. Apply proper risk management. We may see no reaction, or we may see the market reacting in a way that you may not like, or it could be in your favor. But whatever you do, trade with what you're willing to lose, right? Don't put in more than what you're willing to risk or lose in the market. With that being said, I've come to the end of my own session. Lekon, what are you seeing in synthetics market?
Good morning, Cynthia. That was a very insightful analysis for the synthetic. So this morning, as we all know, that weekend is a market continue kind of thing when it comes to synthetic. So this morning we'll be starting with the analysis of VIS30, 1X, yes, VIS30, and 75 1S and the 75 itself. All right. So let's quickly start with VIS30. From VIS30, looking at it from the higher time frame, you are going to observe and agree with me that for a long while now, we've been expecting this particular high to be taken out, right? This liquidity level to be taken out. And we see that happen on Friday, which happens to be an holiday, which price took out this perfectly and gave us a very clean narrative on Friday at the market close, giving us an insightful, pattern to know where we are heading to, because we already have a market structure shift just below here. Since we already have the market structure shift here, and we're expecting price to pull back all the way, take out liquidity here. Just a very simple, clear boss pattern. This is our shoulder right around this point here. We've seen the sweep of liquidity at the top here for this 31S, and that is why we see price reacting all the way from that zone. And after we see the sweep of liquidity, we see it engineered some liquidity there to be grabbed sometimes later, and that was what price did in the course of the weekend on Friday particularly. So we see price take out this liquidity, and we begin to see the sell all the way to the downside. Now, this hasn't happened to be very much move to the downside. However, we still expect that price should sell all the way back down to grab the nearest diagonal liquidity, which is going to be from this particular point. All right. So looking at it now, where exactly are we heading to? Let's check on the 4-hour time frame. Now, for the 4-hour time frame, as a matter of fact, before we go to the 4-hour time frame, I want to quickly show something on the 24-hour, because we have a structure just below here. After price took out this liquidity point, it broke structure here and create some other liquidity point, which was what price came to took out a few days ago. However, this particular swing, this last swing here, I'm expecting price to retrace a little bit, at least into the discount level, which is about into the discount level, which is about 50% fib level, or if you draw your Fibonacci for this particular swing here. So I'm expecting price to retrace at least to this level or into this fair value gap here around the 61% fib level, and that is what I'm waiting for to follow through to the downside. Now, having gotten that, if you go to your 4-hour time frame, you are going to agree with me that there are structure on the 4-hour time frame that we are still expecting price to break to the downside, which is this already. We already have price take out this, and we see the pull back. And on the 1-hour time frame, there's actually an order block somewhere at the top there that I'm expecting price to, get back into, and we begin this particular one, and we begin to sell further to the downside. Just a little bit of concern, because this happens to be more like a shoulder again, as price already came to sweep out this liquidity, right? and broke structure to the downside. My only concern is if price is going to take out this low, then we begin to follow through to the downside again. So if price breaks this low to the downside, then we'll come to our 15 minutes to look out for what we have at this particular spot here on the 15 minutes so that we can follow through further to the downside, right? So that is what we are looking out for. Yes, this is it on the 15 minutes. This is what I'm trying to say. So on the 15 minutes, the structure becomes much more clearer as price already took out all this liquidity here, and we've seen a clear break of structure at this point to the downside. So I'm expecting a pullback when price gets into this zone. Then we look out for our entry signature for itself as we follow through to the downside with our stop loss just above this order block here, and we are targeting all the way the low of this point here, right? So that is what we are looking out to see on this 31S. A quick one to this 75-1S to see what is going on this 75-1S. Now for the 75-1S, you would agree with me that we've seen price create a very strong support around this region, but there's no momentum push to the upside again. So I'm of the opinion that we are still going to see it sell a little bit more to take out all this liquidity that has been built just below this low here, right? And if you look at it from the 4-hour perspective, you are going to agree with me that yes, we've been seeing price, you know, just within that zone, looking more like a range in between that zone. However, at this particular point here, since we see how that price, you know, took out this low of recent as at yesterday, we've seen how price took out this low as at yesterday. Now, what exactly should we now look out for? I'm waiting for a pullback for price to pull back all the way. This is a very wild fair value gap here with an order block. So when price gets to this zone, we look forward to an entry signature to short the 75-1S further down again at this point with our stop loss just above the 4-hour order block. And we are shortening it to, we are shortening it all the way to clear the daily liquidity levels, which is the support zone that we have on the daily time frame as analyzed earlier. So lastly, for this 75 index, now the 75 index, if you look at it from the daily perspective, you are going to agree with me that yes, we've been very bearish and all the way to the downside. However, we see some level of pullback happening a few days ago, right? Since the month of February, we've been seeing pullbacks all through, but the pullback hasn't broken any structure yet. As a matter of fact, to me, I am of the opinion that this support that has been broken is acting more like a resistance for price somewhere here, right? So acting more like a resistance for price somewhere here. So having seen that now, where exactly are we heading to? So we are expecting some level of further sells on the 75 because we've not seen the market structure shift on the daily time frame. So if you look at it on the daily time frame, as we are expecting the sales, we've seen on the 4-hour time frame, we see how that price already created a very clean and clear bust pattern for us here. This is a sweep of liquidity at this top here. We've seen a sweep of liquidity here, and at the same time, we've seen break of market structure just below here, how that price already broke structure here, and we are and it created a liquidity level here. So all I'm expecting right now is price moving all the way from this low all the way here to take out this liquidity, tap into this shoulder level, and also with a confluence of another block around that zone, and we'll begin to see the further sell all the way to the downside. And because we won't just hold our hands and see what price is doing, if you look at it, we have a very clean buy structure happening right now. Looking at the past data we have on the 4-hour time frame, we have a fair value gap here where price actually came to tap into sometimes 9th of March, and we see how it reacted from that level, creating a very clean bust pattern here. This having our shoulder here, the sweep of liquidity, break of market structure, price came all the way right now and it has tapped into the shoulder level. So all we need to do is go to your 15-minute time frame to look out for your entry signature for a buy. So I'm expecting to see a buy, which is I'm waiting for a bullish engulfing, which has not really formed right now. Until that formed inside this zone, inside of this for our zone, then we can now pull trigger and begin to buy this 75 all the way back up again, right? So in a nutshell, what we are expecting to see on this 75 is right now we are waiting for our entry signature to form, which is a bullish engulfing with our stop loss just below this liquidity point here, and our take profit at the liquidity, diagonal liquidity at the top here, right? That is 1:4. Many were expecting price to come and take out this level at the top here. So when we see that, we are also, what we are waiting for is when we offload our buy position here, we are also still coming all the way here to look for sell positions when price get within this particular zone, and we begin to short this 75 with our stop loss just at the top there. And this particular short is going to be a very long one, right? It's going to be a very massive one because we are expecting on the 24-hour, we are expecting price to come all the way and take out this low because we did not see a the correlated market structure shift on the daily time frame. With this is all that I have for the synthetic market, looking at this 31S, 75-1S, and the 75 itself. So therefore, let's quickly move to the indices market with Demola to see what is going on the indices market and what are the opportunities we can also take trading the indices this morning. Good morning, Demola.
Good morning, Luke. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the analysis.
Fine, thank you. What's going on in the indices market?
All right, pretty much the indices market is going really chaotic because of the ongoing war. It has been a sell all through last week. You can see this is on the monthly charts. This is in the month of March. Look at the drop, a huge drop candle. You can see the one for February also. We sold all through the week and the month. All right, but then on NAS, this is NASDAQ 100. What do we have practically speaking for NAS? We can see, I believe strongly well that price has shifted structure both on higher time frame and lower time frame. We are beginning to see more sellers come into the market, and this is not also surprising because we can see the ongoing war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. That has affected the markets. Currently still affecting the market. In fact, as we speak now, what Trump tweets about the war affects the war more than even economic indicators like CPI, NFP, and all of that, right? So it literally drives this market. And if that is the case, the best thing to do now is to just be on Twitter or Truth Social to ensure you are catching up with the market, right? That was last week. He gave them ultimatum of 48 hours. If they don't open the pathway, is going to destroy their infrastructure. And interestingly, that's now been opened, right? So we expect news, fundamental news this week to drive the market also, purely from Twitter, from Truth Socials, and that's President Donald Trump handle, right? On Truth Social, want to see updates from there. Then we can now begin to make more informed decision, right? Technical analysis this period might not be the best to trade long term in this market, except you're scalping, like what I've been doing. I've just been scalping the market myself, right? And just in and out, although it has its own risks, but nonetheless, if you want to make money, you just have to find a way, right? So the market is bearish now, technical wise. Let's look at a technical analysis and probably can build from there. On the daily time frame, we are seeing clearly price has taken this structure, this liquidity. The next obvious liquidity is this one here. right? Which most likely will be taken very soon, either into today or tomorrow. Price is going to take this liquidity. However, on the 4-hour time frame, let me delete this. On the 4-hour time frame, what do we have? Where do we see price going to before it resume its sell, right? Then we should be looking at this fair value gap price has created here. You might see a rejection, price tapping into this fair value gap to continue, or really traveling down into this zone, this fair value gap here. Or we even call it fair value gap, the entire other block, this. Right, price coming into this zone to continue the sell-off. That's also another possibility. You'll see something like this and then boom to the downside. So that's a real good possibility in this market. On the 1-hour time frame, what do we have? On the 1-hour time frame, we can see clearly this our fair value gap price already tested it last week. Interesting setup. Price tested it last week. That was what sent this sell, triggered this sell to the downside, right? So for this morning, what would I be looking out for in terms of trade setup? The closest area of interest that has not been mitigated will be this zone here, this one here. If for any reason price wants to sell before it continues, wants to buy before it continues the sell pressure, I want to sell from this zone. Why is that so? This is the closest area to price, and then we have some form of inducement already. This inducement here is enough, as you can see here. This serves as inducement, right? So doesn't hurt if we have a sell-off from this zone, we can get 1:2. Let me see where price is currently. 1:2. This 1:5. 1:5, really good for a trade this week. It's a good one already. 1:5 is not bad. And then ultimately, where this is an objective target for us, a subjective one would be this area we want price to go and clear the new liquidity zone. That will give us 1:10R, right? But let's just stay with something very objective, what we can see, 1:5.5. So this is what we have on US 100 this morning. All right. Let me have this saved. All right. Next is US 30. Also on US 30, you can see we are bearish. We are bearish on the weekly time frame. But I drew my fib just to mark what is happening. We are seeing that price is beginning to approach the equilibrium level, that's 50%. And once price gets into 61.8 or 70.5, we want to start looking out for buys in the market, right? Because we want to buy when we are underpriced and sell when we are overpriced, right? And so this is what I'm looking at for on the weekly time frame, purely technical analysis, right? And then on the daily time frame, as you can see, price already cleared structured level. These are the previous lower lows that's been cleared. And then for that reason, we know that price is going to just look for the nearest nearest area that would trigger the buy, that will trigger the sell, continuation of the sell. What area do we have for US 100? This looks like the only zone, right? This looks like a very good zone. Although with price return to this level before we continue the sell, I don't think so. But then this looks like the only viable zone for price to tap into the 50% of the fair value gap and then continue to the downside. So I'll be looking at the market today. Hopefully we'll get more data as the day goes by into New York. We should get more data. And if we don't, by Tuesday, as tomorrow, we should begin to see, the price action. Finally, on S&P 500. On S&P 500, we have almost the same analysis. We have this zone we're looking out for, which is very far. But then unlike US 30, S&P 500 has some very close area of interest around this zone, which is this other block that's not been tested, and also some form of inducement like what we saw on NASDAQ, right? So this should give us another, say, 1:5. This is 1:5.9. All right, so it's a fair deal, right? Reaching 1%, and this will be, another 5.9%, almost 6%. So it's a fair deal. Looking at what the market's going to do today, hopefully, if we come any close to this area, then we should give it a short sell, because overall the market is bearish. Fundamental is still very shaky. Nothing close to being bullish at all, because the war is still ongoing, and we've not seen a clear-cut compromise. Until we see that, and then we see a ceasefire from both parties, then we can begin to look at the market recovering again. All right, that's pretty much what we have. Over to Abigail for commodity analysis. Abigail, over to you on commodity analysis.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that detailed analysis, Demola. So we're going to be heading into the commodity currency market to see what they have in store for us today. Starting off with a look at AUD/USD on the H4 time frame. We'll see that predominantly AUD/USD is to the upside. Everything is pushing forward except for our most recent price action, which is somewhere around here. Price was able to break through this downtrend structure to the downside, but it hasn't done a lot of movement. So what I think AUD/USD is about to do, because of the sunshine that has been printed here, is to give us a temporal buy from where it currently is into our next point of interest that appear on the 1-hour time frame. Before I go further, I would like to say this. I understand that not all of us have these indicators on our charts, as this is mostly for students of our community here at the BFT Academy. But I also like to say, please don't let it distract you from taking notes of the price point I'll be calling. Pay attention to the price point and then take advantage of this analysis session. Okay, with that being said, let's go back to business. So these are now my points of interest on the 1-hour time frame. The first one is here, that's a specific price point, 0.70596. However, because of how intertwined all of these indicators are around this particular region, I drew out the entire zone. So pay attention to this entire zone from this point, 0.70630, all the way to 0.70425. And when price provided criteria met, sales price may continue to be buying into that level. I'll say it again so you don't get confused. Going back to the H4 time frame, predominantly we're buying. However, we've seen the temporal break of downtrend structure here. Sunshine has been printed, indicating that a temporal buy is expert at resistance levels that price could either respect or break and violate through. So the first one is somewhere around here, somewhere around 0.69945 and 0.69875. The second POI is here, but this is the higher time frame point of interest that we marked out. Okay, we're back. So sorry about that. We had a technical error, but we're back now. So back to what I was saying on AUD/USD. On the M5 time frame, these are now the POIs that we marked out: POI 1, POI 2, 3, and 4. When price returns into the zone, we'll check for sell opportunities. However, right now, my overall bias is to buy into the zone. My most preferred level where I may be taking profit from, if I take this counter trade, which is a buy, will be somewhere here. That will be 0.7435. So from where price currently is to where I think it's going to buy into, we have over 80 pips to go. So because this is a, in quotes, counter trade, we may now decide to be on the more conservative side by just going for 40 to 50 pips. And I say counter trade because we saw that a change of character occurred already on H4, yeah? But if price is able to break through, then this is just a buy that will continue to trade in line with the major structure that we've seen on AUD/USD. And then moving into NZD/USD on the H4 time frame, what do we see? Now, price has been breaking structure. If you know AUD/USD and you know NZD/USD, you know that they move very similar to each other. Because NZD/USD has been selling for a while, it's possible that AUD/USD will eventually catch up, right? Or it will start to buy and catch up with AU. One of the two is going to happen. But what do I see happening on NZD/USD right now? Minor structure is to the downside, major structure is still up. No sunshine has been printed here, so it makes me believe that we just may see a sunshine printed on the upside, which basically means what? We're seeing a temporal buy opportunity on NZD/USD as well. This is where price currently is. This is our first point of interest, 0.58405. Our second point of interest is 0.58710. And then our third POI is all the way up here at 0.59569. So pay attention to this level point. However, because the 1 hour time frame may take time before price eventually trades into these zones, we have our most recent price points of interest on the 5-minute time frame. What are they? 4 major structures, in this case 3, because we had a double confluence here. So first POI is now at 0.58905. The second point of interest here is 0.58160, and then the third one is 0.579. Let's get the precise number, 0.57979. Yeah, so what am I saying? I'm saying NZD/USD is going to buy temporarily. It may find resistance here, previous support on resistance, continue to sell, or violate, tap into this, or violate and tap into this. That's the overall idea behind POIs. What I do know for sure right now is I'm looking at temporal buy opportunities, and the price trades into my points of interest. I want to see confirmational buyers that makes me know that, okay, NZD/USD is ready to start selling. And then moving into the final asset class, which is USD CAD. On the H4 time frame, what do we see? Now, USD CAD has failed to break through this particular level point. In a way, it's even looking very choked up, almost like it just returned into this range that we had previously. So when price breaks out this zone, then we may say that the buy we've been seeing from the 9th of March to current price data, or price range rather, is going to continue. However, before it does that, let's go to H1 and see our possible POI. Now, on the H1 time frame, this is now my upside resistance that price could tap into and continue to sell or break through, yeah? But on the downside, this is what I think. Price does not just move in straight lines here. So we may see USD CAD do something like this. We may see a temporal sell into this on the higher time frame, which is each one. And that is now 1.36499. So watch out for this. We may see a temporal sell-off. Going into the M5 time frame to get our most recent price data, to see the highs, the support and resistance levels that may hold. You see this as well. Price has also been choked up. Everything is just looking very scattered. Yeah, but however, we've not seen a break above and a retest. So this is a break and a retest. USD CAD, our next point of interest is somewhere around here. Is it possible that USD CAD is going to give us this temporal buy, hit resistance, and then continue to sell? Yes. Is it also possible that USD CAD is going to break above the entire thing all the way here? Let me draw it so you see. Break above, give me a second. Perfect. Break above this and then start to sell, come back in here and then just continue to break higher. We'll see. The 5-minute time frame would help us to see what price eventually does. Price is fractal, yeah? So they'll eventually all catch up. So for USD CAD, I don't have the most preferred clarity that I'll prefer to see. However, I am watching closely, and the major POI that I'm watching out for is the next resistance level right here. And if price violates this zone, my next level or area I'll be watching is going to be somewhere around here. If this gets violated, I know that USD CAD has more buy power. However, if they get respected and the 5-minute point of interest that we mapped out are broken through to the downside, then it's safe to say USD CAD is set to resume its sell movement. So for now, watch out for this zone. From this to this at the levels I'm watching to see. Pick is a side, be clear, do not be here. And that's pretty much it for commodity currencies. We're going to see how they play out moving into the rest of the week. As always, if we see or rather when these aligns and we see specific things we need to see to take a live trade, we are going to be placing a live trade together, or we're going to be putting the markup in the VFT market color group. So if you're not in that group, you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you join that group. Just Google VFT Hub, valueflowtrading.com/market color to sign up and join the group. If you're already in the group, make sure you have that group pinned on Telegram. Also, we have the Ultimate Traders course coming up next month. In this course, we're teaching you every single thing you need to know to be a profitable trader. It is a class you definitely do not want to miss, and I say that with all sense of confidence, okay? So if you have questions about the Ultimate Traders course, just send us a WhatsApp message at 081 60 99 50 30 and let us get you on board. With that being said, do have an amazing trading week. Cheers and God bless. Thank you for joining.